Well, hello again, and glad you can join me, and welcome back to my world of classic dirt bikes. Now, in this featured video, we're going to take a look at a machine that was spotted at the 2019 Telford Classic Dirt Bike Show. Now, this particular bike is a 1972 250 CZ. Now, this particular bike was offered up for sale at this Telford Classic Dirt Bike Show, and after you've seen this very short clip, if you are interested in getting in touch with the vendor, then I will post his phone number in the video description. Now, of course, the bike is a 1972 CZ250 model, and the vendor told me when I captured these pictures in video that the bike was more or less ready to race. Now, the bike looks for all the world an original machine from that era, although it may have different shocks, etc. fitted on the rear. Now, back in the day, it was quite hard for other manufacturers to beat these little CZs on the racetrack when it came to power and handling, and if you got the right rider aboard one of these machines, they were a very competitive package indeed. Of course, CZ won many titles with famous riders aboard these machines. Belgian motocross legend Joel Robert, of course, won 3 world championships while racing one of these machines, and Russian racer Viktor Arbekov also won 3 consecutive titles while racing one of these very quick CZ motorcycles. Now, of course, through their many successes on the racetrack, CZ became known as the dominant manufacturer for motocross bikes during 1972, and of course CZ were also the first manufacturer to introduce expansion chambers on exhaust systems for motocross machines. Now, on our featured bike here, this appears to have many of its original parts still fitted, other than, of course, the rear shocks, which of course are not an original fitment, but every other part on this machine looks very original from 1972. Although, as I mentioned earlier, the vendor of this machine had the bike up for sale at the show. Now, this machine may still be for sale, or it may already be sold, but if you'd like to get in touch with the owner, as I mentioned earlier, I will post his phone number in the video description. Now, of course, in the UK, these CZs are becoming more and more increasingly popular, and there is a very high demand for these CZ machines, and you can see many types and models of these CZ bikes at any classic and twin shock race event throughout the UK. But nevertheless, this is a very fine example of a 1972 250 CZ. This bike appears to have all the proper parts on it from that era, and would be a very good buy for somebody if, of course, the price was right. Now, during their heydays of the 1960s and 70s, CZ, of course, were a very dominant force in the world of motocross racing. Although, unfortunately, with the introduction of inexpensive and more advanced Japanese bikes during the 1970s, CZ lost a considerable amount of the market until ultimately selling their motorcycle manufacturing side of the company to Cagiva In spite of this, of course, CZ bikes will always be remembered for their speed, innovation and dominance of 1960s and early 70s motocross racing. So there you have it, a very brief look at a lovely 1972 CZ 250. So look out for more classic dirt bikes from my YouTube channel coming soon. So if you haven't already subscribed, I hope you'll do that and enjoy more of my classic dirt bikes. This video was brought to you in association with Love Sport Motocross Race and Leisure Wear, and also in association with VMX Magazine, the world's undisputed #1 publication for all your vintage and classic dirt bike motorcycles.